Hey guys, today we're doing IXL. Let's get started.
Uncle Wizard. What's the big news? Barry asked. But Uncle Wizard didn't seem to hear. He snapped his fingers, making a cup of hot chocolate appear. Shh, Barry. He'll tell us when he's ready, Aubrey said. She shook her wand, and tiny pink butterflies flew out. Duke waved his wand and turned them into flies. Barry's cousins were always showing off silly magic. Barry wanted to learn the hard stuff, like how to make a storm. Uncle Wizard cleared his throat. Soon I will turn 250. I am no longer young. It's time I trained one of you to be a real wizard. Aubrey and Duke hooted. Barry jumped up and down. But then she looked at her cousins. Uncle Wizard will probably choose one of them, she thought. Look at the picture. Why does Barry probably think that Uncle Wizard will choose one of her cousins? Because they give Uncle Wizard a magic ring. Because they wear the same robes as Uncle Wizard. Because they are both older than Barry. How will you choose who becomes a wizard? Barry asked. With a puzzle, Uncle Wizard winked. I've hidden a special golden key. Whoever finds it will become the next wizard. Cool, Barry whispered. Here's the puzzle. The key is in a place where there are rivers and roads, but no people, Uncle Wizard said. Remember, wizards use their magic and their minds. Aubrey and Duke began to shout ideas. I've got it, yelled Aubrey. The key must be in an old, empty town. Of course. But where? Duke asked. I don't know, but I'm going to find it first. Aubrey waved her wand and disappeared. Duke clapped his hands, making a cloud of smoke that smelled like blueberries. When the smoke cleared, Duke was gone. Where has Uncle Wizard hidden the key? In a place where children learn to become wizards. In a place that is covered with blueberry smoke. In a place with rivers and roads but no people. While Uncle Wizard sipped his hot chocolate, Barry stood quietly by the fire. She had heard stories about empty towns, but she didn't know of any. Aubrey and Duke are searching for an empty town, Barry thought. Should I search for one too? Even if I find one, how will I know where to look for the key? Barry said a floating spell, and she began drifting slowly through Uncle Wizard's house. I always think better when I'm floating, she said to herself. Soon Barry found herself in Uncle Wizard's map room. She looked around. There were maps hanging on the wall and rolled up on shelves. More maps were stacked on Uncle's desk. Barry kept asking herself, where are there rivers and roads, but no people? What can you guess about Barry? Look for clues in the story. She does not really care about finding the key. She usually thinks things through carefully. Barry Berry ran her finger along a river on one of the maps. It gave her an idea. She started looking under the maps on the desk and behind the maps on the walls. She took a rolled up map off a shelf. Something hard slid out. It was the key. "Good job," Uncle Wizard said. He was standing in the doorway, smiling. "I solved the puzzle," Berry said. "I was looking at the maps. They show rivers and roads, but they don't show people. So a map matched all the clues. As our family's next wizard, you will make everyone proud," Uncle Wizard said. "Wow, thank you," Berry said. Uncle Wizard grinned. "Ready to start your training?" How does Berry know to look for the key in a map? A map matches all the clues. Grow a dragon. Marlin plopped down onto a bench in the garden. "You seem grumpy. What's wrong?" Grandma asked. She was weeding her balloon plant. The colorful bunches of balloon blossoms bounced in front of her face. "The dragon parade." "Ah. It's in 2 days. Nia and Kent and, well, all my friends are going, with their dragons." Grandma picked a teacup flower. "Tea? It might help you feel better." She handed Marlin the flower cup of steaming tea. "Only one thing will make me feel better," Marlin whispered. "I know, but dragons—" "Cost a lot," Marlin sighed. "Right, and it's not like you can just grow one." Marlin looked around his grandmother's garden. "Wait," he said slowly. "Maybe I can. May I look through your seed box?" What is probably true about Grandma's seeds? Look for clues in the story. They are the same seeds that Nia's and Kent's families have. They are magic seeds that grow into unusual plants. Marlin followed Grandma into the shed, where she handed him her seed box. "Let's see." Marlin flipped through the packets. "What's the right seed mix to grow a dragon?" Grandma rubbed her chin. "That's a pretty wild idea. But remember when you mixed peanut seeds and jelly seeds? Growing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is one thing," Grandma said. "Growing a dragon is something else." Marlin held up 3 packets. "Fire seeds, lizard seeds, and wing seeds. I'll plant them together." Grandma smiled. "It's worth a shot." Marlin took a seed out of each packet. He dug a little hole, put in the seeds, and covered them with dirt. Then he poured some water on them. Now he just had to wait and hope. Why does Marlin pick fire seeds, lizard seeds, and wing seeds? Look for clues in the story. He reads on the packets that these seeds will grow a dragon. He wants seeds that remind him of what a dragon is like. The next morning, Marlin couldn't believe what he saw in the garden. There was a plant with a red stem and green leaves. A pink flower bud grew on the stem. Marlin touched the bud carefully with one finger. It was warm and smelled slightly of smoke. "I did it!" Marlin jumped in the air. came outside. Well, something is growing, that's for sure. Marlin ran his finger along the stem. It felt like petting a lizard. It's a dragon plant, he cheered. Grandma sighed. It could be. You won't know for certain until that bud opens. Remember what happened with my scrambled eggplant? True, Grandma's scrambled egg seeds just grew rotten eggs. But this time felt different. Marlin crossed his fingers. He would have to wait and see. What important thing does Marlin notice about the bud of his plant? It is lit up with fire. It smells like smoke. Marlin woke at sunrise and raced into the garden. The bud had opened into a large red flower. Marlin heard a tiny roar. Sitting on the flower was a brightly colored dragon. Marlin froze. Then he slowly reached out his hand. The dragon trembled a little, watching him closely, but then she hopped onto his hand. My dragon, Marlin whispered, rubbing the dragon's chin. She grinned and let out a puff of smoke. She was nothing like Nia's and Kent's huge, fancy dragons, but Marlin was glad to have a different kind of dragon. You're perfect, Marlin told his dragon. Let's get to the parade. The dragon roared happily. Look at the picture. In what way is Marlin's dragon different from Nia's and Kent's? Marlin's dragon has no wings. Marlin's dragon can fit inside his pocket. Forest Walker. Mom opened the curtains and sunlight streamed in. Good morning, birthday boy. Ezra threw off his blanket. Ooh, I smell pancakes. That's right. I'm making you a birthday feast, Mom laughed. 7 is a big deal. In Ezra's village, turning 7 meant that you could go into the forest alone. But Ezra was excited for another reason. Your 7th birthday was also when you found out if you had the magical power to speak to trees. Excited? Mom asked. Yes, Ezra said. Trees know everything about everything. Imagine being able to ask them questions. Oh, trees speak? Well, remember, most people in the village can't do it. Mom patted down his bedhead hair. But you still get to go into the forest. So how about some pancakes? What does Ezra want most for his birthday? Look for clues in the story. The magical power to talk to trees. After the feast, Ezra went to Mr. Dell's house. Mr. Dell was one of the few people in the village who could tree speak. Ezra hoped that Mr. Dell could help him. It's your big day, Mr. Dell said. I've been thinking, when I get to the circle of trees, what should I talk about? Ezra asked. Trees are more like us than you think, Mr. Dell said. They want to be loved and heard, just like people. Ezra nodded, though he still wasn't sure what to say to the trees. I guess I'll see what happens. Ezra ran back home. Then he paraded through the village with his family. Neighbors swung open their windows. Ezra heard their good wishes. Happy birthday, Forest Walker! Enjoy your day! Why does Ezra go talk to Mr. Dell? Ezra wants Mr. Dell to come with him into the forest. Ezra thinks that Mr. Dell might give him a birthday present. Ezra wants help from someone who can tree speak. When they got to the forest, Mom hugged Ezra. "Enjoy your first walk alone." Ezra entered the forest. He walked until he came to a circle of giant trees. "Hello? I'm Ezra from the village. I'm 7 today, but I guess you already know that." Ezra waited to feel something magical, but nothing happened. Minutes passed. "We had a huge feast this morning with a pancake pile as high as my knees." Ezra kept talking about his birthday. More time passed. His excitement turned into a heavy feeling. He sat down on the soft forest floor. Maybe he couldn't tree speak. Ezra thought about what Mr. Dell had said. Like people, trees wanted to be loved. He hugged his knees and thought about what made him feel loved. Look at the picture. What does Mom do that makes Ezra feel loved? She listens to him when he talks. Ezra looked up at the trees. They were so tall that they seemed to disappear into the bright blue sky. He imagined that his ears were balloons, stretching and filling up with all the sounds of the forest. He closed his eyes, stopped thinking about what to say next, and just listened. Suddenly, Ezra heard gentle voices. He jumped to his feet. Was his family calling to him? No, the voices didn't sound like people. "Hello, Ezra. We're glad you're here." Ezra whispered, "Who are you?" "We are the trees." "I can understand you," Ezra said. "And we can understand you." Ezra felt dizzy with joy. He was tree speaking. Ezra had so much to say, but first he wanted to listen. What happens to Ezra at the end of the story? He turns into a tree. He talks with the trees.
That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.